I'm back again. I'm so sorry for that. There's always technical issues, but we just got to find a way to work around it. So this is take 3 of Oils and Emotions. I'm continuing on from the first 2 videos. So make sure you click on all the links of these videos in order to be up to date on everything that's happening. I'll make sure to save all 3 links for these videos later tonight, so you guys can actually go back and listen to anything that you missed. But what I was mentioning when I rudely got cut off by Facebook Live is smelling an aroma is more of an emotional response rather than a logical response, which I find super interesting. Emotions bypass our reasoning, which is why we are not always rational. So what I was saying is, I don't know if you were like me, but my emotions are not always rational. I don't know if I should admit that. But we are all human, we are all the same, and it's just true. Sometimes our emotions aren't rational, but they're things that we feel. They are things that are coming out of our body. So we need to experience those emotions, but it's important to learn how to deal with those emotions well. So, interesting fact is, in children, the frontal cortex is underdeveloped. So it's not always developed when they're young. So that is why sometimes kids have super irrational emotions, which can help us kind of understand a little bit more about how they process, and sometimes it takes them a little bit longer. But oils that are inhaled can directly affect our emotions. They help to release the cellular emotion anywhere in the body, and they can be a great value to help get rid of and clear hidden emotions and step into our highest potential. So when I'm done this call, I'm going to share a PubMed study that just shares a little bit more on how they did a study of 2 essential oils and 1 placebo group, and how those different oils had different effects on the body, and the placebo wasn't doing anything. So it just really shows you how essential oils can have such a great impact on the body. So essential oils can definitely be a blessing or a curse. They can be positive or negative. I don't know if you align with me on your faith values, and if you don't, that is totally okay. For me, what I do is I bring it to God. I ask for guidance, for peace of mind, to renew my mind. Things like that can really help. Using your essential oils, journaling, listening to music, like therapeutic type music, all of those things can really help to deal with your emotions. A couple scriptures that I like to remind myself of: taking every thought captive, renewing your mind every day, sometimes every hour or minute. And it says, do not be anxious about anything. So I always hang tight to those types of things. So one thing to note is, before you start the protocol, you want to be sure to kind of smell each oil, notice how your body feels and what emotions come up, and write that down. If anytime you find an oil feels too much, just start with 1 or 2. Oils can be very powerful. So if you have a lot of things that you need to deal with, you might need to take a little bit more time. Did you know that feeling numb is actually an emotion? It's kind of an interesting concept, but it is. There's sometimes that we feel numb. We don't want to deal with it or work through things, so our body just feels numb. And it's actually a sign of deep-seated emotion that needs to be worked out. If you're feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or heavy, you want to start processing and working through those emotions. We want to break free from having that kind of stuff. So it's recommended, when we go through this protocol, to use it for 30 days straight consecutively. And I'll give tips and stuff as we go through. There's also a protocol that I'm going to go through, and I will paste that into the group as soon as I'm done this call tonight as well, so you can print that out. Okay, so one cool tip I want to share even before I get started is Harmony. This is one of my favorites. Harmony is a great if you're nervous or you have an anxious, upset stomach. This is an oil that's great to apply to the stomach. I actually have my middle child. She always not always, but sometimes she gets this thing where she's like, oh, my tummy feels funny and I don't feel good. And I know it's like that anxious feeling. She's in grade 1, she's 6. So it's a lot of things going on in life and for them to process. And when I learned this today to apply it to the tummy, I'm going to start using this for her because I use lots of oils on her, but sometimes it's just finding something new that can help and help them process and feel balanced. It's also great for children, because I know there's a lot of moms on this call, is to apply the Harmony oil to the crown of your head or your kid's head. I'm going to do it right now. Move my hair a little bit. And it's going to help lift the emotions. It's going to help everything, because when you hug them, when you embrace them, you're going to be smelling it. So you're going to feel better, and they're also going to feel better because it's absorbed into their body. So emotions are transcribed on the DNA of our cells, which can actually be passed through utero. So this is really something that as adults and human beings that we need to be very conscious of, and not even in utero. I think emotions we deal with now can actually affect our children as they're developing and growing. So it's important for us to be able to handle and deal with our emotions well. We're always going to have emotions that come up. That's just life, but it's just having tools to deal with it well. So for example, fear is something that can be programmed in the womb. So if you were pregnant and you dealt with a lot of fear, that's actually something that's programmed into the cells and the DNA of your body, which actually passes through to the unborn child. Anger, which isn't dealt with, is stored in the liver and the gallbladder. So it all starts with thoughts, which become thought patterns. Our thought patterns become our emotions, and our emotions become our behavior. So that's a really good thing to think about, is because if we can figure out our thoughts and take our thoughts captive and renew our mind and feed in good stuff into our bodies, when those negative things come up, because it will happen, we have tools to be able to deal with it. Okay. So this, we're going to dive right in. This amazing little box or protocol, you can get, there's 6 oils that come in this kit. You can get them individually in the Canadian market. So you're always welcome to order them on the Canadian market. Most of them outside of this feelings kit come in 15 mils. So if you were to buy all 6 of these oils individually, it's approximately $407 Canadian. But if you prefer to get them in the 5 mils in this little kit, you can get it on the US side for $181 US, which is a really killer price. And tip, you can actually save up your Essential Rewards points and redeem this with your points. Okay, so there's lots of ways that you can get the oils. You can start with a couple and then work yourself up to getting all of them, however it works best for you. Okay. So the first oil in the protocol is Valor Essential Oil. Oh, I just love it. Okay. Valor is very emotionally balancing. It's very gentle. So this is a great oil to start with. It balances like your system. It's crazy what it does. It's recommended that you apply to the bottoms of your feet and your shoulders. A couple drops in your hand. Rotate clockwise 3 times. And breathe in deeply, cupping it over your nose and mouth. Okay, so Valor is going to be the one that you start with. The next oil will be Harmony, which I briefly mentioned. Harmony is an essential oil that has 13 different oils in it. So this is a blend that has 13 oils in it. It also supports the energy balance in the body. This one you're going to want to use on the tailbone, about 2 inches above the navel and 2 inches below the navel, over your heart, over your throat, on your forehead, and on your crown. These 2 oils are super gentle. They're super mild. They're a great way to start if you just want to use a couple of oils to get started. You shouldn't have any massive emotional release or things happen with just starting with these 2. So use these 2, see how you feel. think about it, journal it, all of that kind of stuff, and then you can continue to move on. The next one, and if I'm honest, when I first started with essential oils and I heard of the names, like it sounded a little weird. Like forgiveness doesn't necessarily come in the bottle. This is the next one we're going to talk about. And the more I've learned about the science behind it, and with me dealing with it spiritually, there's ways that those can actually work together really well and support one another. So this is a spiritual oil. It does help with emotional freedom. And the coolest thing is this is actually, like, from the beginning of time, this has been a practice that we are supposed to do. So this is actually a biblical practice that we are supposed to forgive. When we don't forgive, hurts, things that have happened to us, whether it's ourselves, if we've hurt ourselves, or if it's other people hurting us, it actually causes physical damage to our own body. So when we hold anger, resentment, unforgiveness towards other people, there's a saying, and I might butcher it, but it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That's what it does in your body, is you're poisoning yourself with what it does, your emotions and how those emotions affect everything in your body, expecting the other person to get hurt, which is crazy, right? But that's what our brain does. So it's so important to practice forgiveness. It's bless and release, move on. It's actually more for you than it is for the other person. And if you want to talk more about it, you can definitely send me a message. But it's something that is a really great thing to practice. If you get stuck here, it's suggested to stop and spend some time, work through it. You can apply this oil to your navel. If we feel emotions in our core, that's kind of where the serotonin and the gut are. And so that a lot of times can be reasons why things are like stirring up. So just one aside is, like, a biblical practice with forgiveness is Peter had asked Jesus, how many times do I forgive his brother? And he said 70 times 7, which actually means unlimited amount of times is we are supposed to offer forgiveness to people. And it is for both parties, but more for yourself in a way. So I think that's super important. You're going to apply that to your navel. You're going to massage it clockwise. And then think of someone you may be angry with, and that could be someone including yourself. And then that's a great time to journal about it, get those emotions out, and yes. The next app is on this protocol. It starts with valor, harmony, forgiveness. Then it jumps to release, but I'm actually going to recommend present time before that. So just make a note when you print this out. Present time, so it likely should be the fourth oil. This is an expensive oil on its own. It's actually $111. So that was awesome that you can get it in that kit for such a great price. And it's because it contains the oil neroli, and neroli is like $130 essential oil. This is suggested to use before release because you don't want to get stuck in the past. So when you're dealing with things like forgiveness and that stuff, present time can just help you become present again. This is great to apply to the wrists, behind the ears, or on the throat. So that's a couple ways to use that essential oil. And then next up is release. So some of you may have heard stories about release and people really releasing emotions. For some, it really does do that. It stirs up and brings out a lot of emotions and you just get it out. And for other people, it maybe doesn't have that same effect. So don't be scared of it, but just start slowly and just see how your body reacts to it. This oil, because we store anger and those sorts of things in the liver, this is great to apply over where your liver is on your tummy and on the bottoms of your feet. It will often bring up emotions, and that's okay. That's when you're going to take time to process and journal about it. And yeah, just ask yourself questions like, what is when you're processing these emotions and releasing things, just ask yourself, what's the truth about what I'm feeling? What's the truth about this situation? And when you can write things down, a lot of times, like I mentioned earlier, our emotions are irrational. And when we can write it out and get those thoughts out on paper, there's something about getting it out from here and onto paper. When you get it out and then you maybe have some time to process and think and look back, you can look back at what you wrote and say, okay, what's true about that? No, I'm not that person. I'm not negative. I'm not whatever it is, and apply truth to it. What's the truth about you? And you are cherished and loved and beautiful inside and out, and those things, right? So apply the truth. Awesome. And then the last oil in the protocol is called Inner Child. And this is like a sweet smell. It smells really sweet, pretty. Kind of reminds the smell of Fruit Loops a little bit. Neat. So this oil is good if you're going through a midlife crisis. So if you're just like struggling in life and need to ground yourself again, it's often good used on the oldest child because they are the children that tend to seem to have to grow up too fast to help them find that inner child again. You can apply a drop to your thumb and hold it to the roof of your mouth, which will help get into the bloodstream and directly into the brain. You can also apply it to your belly button or under your nose. And if you have childhood memories, journal about it and process that. And so you're going to work through this. You would apply them every day for minimum 21 days, if not the full 30 days. But keep in mind that it does take 21 days to create a new habit. Our brain is used to the old pathways that it always travels. So it's easy to go down the old pathways. When we create a new one, it takes effort and it takes work. So be patient with yourself. Let yourself take time. The old pathways we want to fix and correct, but we need to put in that effort. So just be diligent to go through that process. Some great resources. There's a lady by the name of Dr. Caroline Leaf. She's wrote a lot on emotions. She would be a great resource to look up. There's also a book called Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils. It's an excellent resource if you have lots of things that you want to work through. Those are a couple things that you can think about. And here's a great quote that I had heard. Sometimes things fall apart so new things can come together. Isn't that beautiful? So again, like I said, is 99% of life decisions are affected by our emotions. If we can work on getting our thoughts on track, this is greatly going to help in every area of our life. So I would love for everybody that jumped on the call tonight, share in the comments one new thing that you learned, one thing you want to implement, or one thing that you maybe want to share with somebody that you care about. And I'm going to be giving away, I have these little, they're like 2 ml drums that I'm going to have each oil in the feelings kit. And I'm going to send out like a little sample of this feelings kit to someone special. So make sure to comment in the comment section. And again, I mentioned this really briefly before, but Essential Rewards is the best way to get product. It's Young Living's loyalty program, so you get a customizable wellness box every single month. You get to choose what you need. So we've transferred everything we used to get in the health food store and a lot of the things in the grocery store, like our vitamins, our supplements. Red is a whole food supplement that we have every month. My face care products, kids vitamins, sports stuff like sports gel and all of that. Like you name it, we've switched it to Young Living. And the coolest thing is when we buy our products on their loyalty program, you get 10 to 25% back towards free products, which just helps to redeem awesome things that you want to try. And it's investing in your family's health instead of, you want to invest in your health, not your sickness, right? So you want to transfer the things that you're buying already. So your shampoos, your body lotions, all of that, they're things that we all use anyways. So we've just decided to switch it over, give Young Living a try, and we have loved every single product that we switched over. You get free oils and points every time you order. So this month with a 100 PV order, you would get a new 2020 product guide and the tangerine essential oil. And then 190 PV, you get those two products plus an awaken essential oil. 250 PV, you get all the previous stuff plus a common sense oil. And then at 300 PV, you get everything I mentioned before plus a sacred frankincense. So you get a ton of free products for ordering on their loyalty program. And it's a great way to try new things and stock up on the products that you love. So if you join Essential Rewards for the first time, shoot me a private message and I will send you a gift for joining in. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for sticking with me, especially with technical difficulties. I know it's a struggle to continue to jump on new lives when things like that happen. So I just appreciate you for tuning in tonight. And next week, it is the first Monday of May. March. It'll be March 2nd, and we are going to share about Essential Oils 101 because we want to introduce new people to Young Living and show them what this is all about. So I encourage you to invite somebody brand new that you've never even talked to Essential Oils about and just ask them, hey, would you be interested in taking a look at this live online class? I think it could help and support you and your family. And yeah, sharing is caring. That's what this is all about, is helping people that we care about. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I look forward to chatting with you next Monday. Bye, guys.